Roll call! My name is Mitchell. I'm your host today on Roll Call.
And I am Tyler, your resident dungeon master here at Roll Call. We are excited that you chose to join us today. Hey, if you haven't yet, make sure you click subscribe and turn that notification bell on to be made aware of whenever we put out a new video.
Who wouldn't want to see this face?
Right? Come on. Okay, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about D&D.
D&D, but first,
Classic, huh?
we have been loving our Twitter followers. We just started our Twitter about a week ago.
Yep.
And we wanted to highlight two accounts that we have just become excited about.
Yeah.
We're going to do this kind of regularly, share a little bit with you, the community, on some accounts to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, totally.
First account that I'm going to share is an account called
Roll Call
DmMisadventures.
Oh, yeah.
This is an account, they're based out of Dallas, Texas. And they've been a pleasure to coordinate with.
Yeah.
They've actually invited me to come on and talk a little bit about what it's like to be a dungeon master.
Yeah.
And help people that are trying to get into the game understand what it means to play that role.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be a really cool opportunity to share a little bit about behind the scenes, some of the struggles and challenges that come with being a game master, but also some of the things that you can look forward to as well. What's the one you got?
Well, this week I've got Center of the Universe. They're just a D&D podcast, just some buds hanging out, playing some games. They got a couple of seasons out.
Yeah.
Right now, they just kind of released their full season update. This is their most recent tweet that came out. So just excited to see more of their content coming up. I think it's going to be great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the things that we have said over and over and over again is that we're not experts. We're not pretending to be experts.
Nope.
And just in case you're wondering, no, we are not sponsored by Dungeons and Dragons.
Although we'd like to be.
But honestly, like we're not experts. And that's something that we're really passionate about. We're passionate about owning the fact that we're experiencing this the same as many of you that are with a group of friends, hanging out, playing a game we love, and growing as we do it.
Well, that's what we want to talk about today.
Yeah.
So I got some questions for you.
Hit me.
Going into Dungeons and Dragons, this was your first experience DMing. You had a bit of experience playing.
Yep.
Just tell us a little bit about that, and then what it was like transitioning from kind of playing, even still being a new person playing, transitioning into that dungeon master role.
Sweet. So one of the coolest things that I had an opportunity to do very early on in, I guess, just the year before COVID, was go down to Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and take part of a regular D&D show that we were producing.
Okay.
And we were developing this content to be put on a platform that we were actually building from the ground up. It didn't end up working out. COVID happened. Businesses kind of catastrophically, it's unfortunate.
And here we are.
But it was a great experience. And I actually was making the trip down to Calgary every week.
Yeah.
I was going down, played a character on the show. It was awesome. So that was my first experience of playing Dungeons and Dragons. Absolutely fell in love with it.
Yeah.
When you approached me about starting a Dungeons and Dragons game, I was so excited.
Yeah.
I remember talking to you and we were like, when should we start? How should we start? And then you even asked me like, would you be interested in DMing?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I totally would.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to do it. Right. And truthfully, man, I had no idea what to expect.
No. Well, I don't think any of us had any idea what to expect.
No.
We basically, I had barely been playing for any amount of time at that point too when I came to you.
Yeah.
And then we kind of started this and we kind of probed around a little bit. And there were quite a few people in our friend group that were very interested.
Yeah.
So, the two of us quickly turned into a group of seven. Insanity.
Like, I would not recommend as an initial starting dungeon master or game master or anybody who plays a tabletop RPG to start with that many people. That was a lot. And it wasn't a lot in terms of that it wasn't possible.
No.
But it's a lot to manage. It's a lot to think about.
Well, and, for the players too, I think everyone wants to feel like they're the main character of their own story. And it's tough when there's 7 main characters of one story.
Dude, seriously, man. Like sometimes I thought that like it was going to get away from me.
Yeah.
It was hard. Yeah.
So then bouncing off that,
yeah.
What were some like big moments, some things you realized coming out of that initial campaign, the very first thing in DMing you've ever done?
Yeah.
If you were to reach out to the next generation of first-time dungeon masters, what would you suggest coming from that experience?
I think I would say the biggest thing would be spend time understanding the rules.
Okay.
Now you don't have to have them like all figured out, but understand the basic gameplay.
Right.
So that you can facilitate the best experience for your players. That would be number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 would be have a clear understanding and boundaries guidelines, expectations of the world you're building. So whether you're using source content, whether you're playing within an existing world, just understand it. Be able to explain it in a concise way, clearly. I think that'll help a lot in terms of immersing your players in a real world.
Right. Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I think those are great.
Why wouldn't you just thought that the first time?
Yeah, I know, right?
So real quick then, give us your nat 20 and your critical fail, your pathetic 1 of the campaign from your point of view as the Dungeon Master. Okay,
so critical fail during the campaign. There was probably a few of them, but multiple times it was more of like a logistical critical fail.
Yeah.
Where I just didn't note take.
Right.
Like things were happening that I should have been writing down.
Right.
Then I got to the end of the session 3 hours later and realized I didn't write a single thing down. And I couldn't even tell you where we were.
Right.
Let alone how we got there.
Yeah.
So oftentimes I'd start the next session with, so let's do a quick recap of where we were. Mitchell, you want to take it away?
And then I'd say some really like menial thing that was just a cool detail. And you're like, all right, this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah. And I'd be like, kid, I'm going to just go ahead and take over. Now I remember. Shut your mouth. Let me tell you how it went. That's honestly what would happen. So, I mean, in all seriousness, yeah, you were a huge help.
Oh, yeah. Well, shucks.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was fun.
So what's your highlight of that critical success?
Okay. This has got to be, I thought about this a lot. This is something that I'm really proud of. And, I heard it quoted a while ago that was like, there's not any original content in the world.
Yeah.
I believe that to be true now more than ever. I didn't intentionally introduce the Infinity Stones into our campaign. However, they manifested themselves.
Like color coordinated too, not just like
no, like yeah. I must have been watching Avengers at some point and it just seeped into my brain.
Yeah.
But I remember ordering I wanted to have these power stones.
Right.
And I ordered them on Amazon. They're just like chakra stones.
Okay.
And I ordered them on Amazon and they came to the house and my wife was like, what are these? I was like, they're for our D&D game. Don't worry. And I remember bringing them downstairs and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so cool. And then the first session, everybody's like, aren't these just the Infinity Stones? And I'm like, oh, shoot. Like I had no idea. I didn't plan on it.
Yeah.
Anyways, all that to say, the green stone.
Time stone.
Okay. So, and I legitimately did not intend this, but coolest moment. You guys are playing the campaign, okay? They're playing the story. They're engaging in the Sahuagin Lair. For those of you that haven't played the Saltmarsh campaign, they were at the Sahuagin Lair. They were engaging in investigating. Anyways, I had you guys encounter a guide of some sort at the beginning of the session. He helped you get in. What then happened from that point was you guys got in and they ended up discovering this green stone, which then brought you back in time. And you didn't know that until you came up out of the Sahuagin Lair after you had played a whole session. I think this was even the next session. Yeah. You guys came up out of the water and I had you come up out of the surface of the water, breaking the surface of the water, swimming to the shoreline and poking your heads over the edge of the stone walkway. And you looked over and off in the distance, you saw 7 figures huddled around a doorway. Who could they be? You rolled perception and realized they were your past selves. Yeah. Everybody lost it.
Oh, like,
that was the coolest moment ever.
It was crazy.
And I remember thinking to myself, like, I no longer have to convince them that this is real. To you guys, it was real.
Well, yeah.
And so I remember then having you guys play your past selves and recount exactly what happened in the last session, trying to get into this lair. Yeah. As well as playing yourselves viewing. So he was like altering back and forth. Yeah. In all processes of thinking, it shouldn't have worked. No. But it worked. And it was so awesome. Good. So fun.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, I think it's been an amazing experience coming really from season 1. Yeah. We're going to be posting season 1 update video for you guys, just so you guys will know what it's all about before we go into season 2.
Yeah, there's some key points there.
Yeah, because season 2 takes place in the same world as season 1.
Yeah, so I've built season 2 to exist in the Forgotten Realms, which many of you who play D&D or have read any lore are very familiar with. So the Forgotten Realms, we're using the Sword Coast. Adventurer's Guide is our location and campaign setting. However, I will be homebrewing it a lot. And so what I've done is I've actually homebrewed that world to coexist as an alternate continent to what we played in the last campaign. And so it's separated by a little bit of water. And Icewind Dale's at the kind of the northern edge, which played a feature in our campaign 1. And so there is a tie there already that's kind of making this kind of global feel to the map.
Yeah.
which is cool.
I can't wait. It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah.
So much more content coming out soon.
It is.
For now, I think that's gonna be what we have to call it.
That's it. Yeah. Just make sure you subscribe, give us that follow, and comment below what your first memory or your first tabletop RPG experience was. We'd love to hear about it.
Definitely check out DmMisadventures on Twitter and Center of the Universe. Go give them a follow, see what their content's all about. I'm super excited to see what they start putting out.
Yeah.
While you're there, you might as well just head on over to Roll Call 20 and give us a little follow.
That's right. And maybe you'll get shout out next time.
You might. Who knows?
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Yeah. Have a good one.
See you later.
Bye.